Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. Okay, guys, here is the deal. I'm here today. Leah is coming. However, she is at a pet visit. And because we did not stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, I thought, you know what? And I talked to Leah on the phone. I said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So you have me. This is what you get for right now. So I want to give you guys, I want to fill you in a little bit. Where have you been? I've been getting some of those messages, not quite in that patronizing of a tone, a little bit more of, are you okay? Is everything all right? Yeah, everything's fine. I don't know. Some of you guys must have missed on Sunday when we said that our plan was to go live on Monday and Tuesday because we weren't going to be able to go live on Wednesday or Thursday. Let me make sure I've got the mic on here correctly because I know that sometimes that's a little bit odd. Because the plan was to be homesteading. Oh, look, they just pulled in. It may take Leah a minute to get ready. We butchered 2 pigs. That's what we did. We butchered 2 pigs. Now, I want to give a disclaimer right now. If you are squeamish and you don't want to hear my story of pig butchering, and it's not going to be that graphic or gruesome or anything like that, but if you don't want to hear it, then you can just take 5, man. Like, literally, just take 5, walk away, turn me on mute, whatever. I don't care. Because I want to tell y'all something. The last time that we did a butcher, we just got started, Leah. The last time that we did a butcher, it was because we had a mama sow that was kind of mean, and you have to be able to get into the piglets. She was not letting us in to the piglets, and so we couldn't keep her as a mom, so she had to go. We allowed Justin to come and help that day, and he wanted to do the shot. The stun shot, you stun shoot. I gave them a disclaimer. If they didn't want to hear this, they can walk away and come back. Leah's smiling at me. Anyway, but he really needed to watch Kansas do it first. But Kansas, wanting to be mano a mano, Justin knows how to handle weapons. He's gone shooting and hunting and things like that. Yeah, you can do it. Well, it didn't go so well. And it was a pretty traumatizing experience. I try not to be there when they're doing the stun shot and the jugular cutting. I just don't really want to be there. I don't know if some of you may not have heard the harrowing story. I call it harrowing. I hit a deer last year, and its legs were broken, completely broken, still alive, and I had my knife with me, and I put it out of its misery and cut its throat. So I can do it. We butcher our chickens. I can do it. I just choose, usually, if I don't have to be, if there's another man to help Kansas out, I'll step away. Don't want to be there. Don't enjoy it. These 2 guys that we butchered on Wednesday were like my best friends. So it was a little bit more difficult. But anyway, so I wasn't there when Justin it took him several shots. And I could hear that she wasn't going down. And I ran up there and I got angry, and I probably should not have done any of this, but I couldn't help myself as a female. And I was yelling at them and just take care of it. So I wrestled a pig, and then Matt goes in and does the thing, and it was a horrific experience. Wednesday, Kansas, well, we went shooting on Monday. It's one of the reasons why we didn't go live for you. Sorry, we went shooting. We needed to go shooting. Was it Monday or Tuesday? No, Tuesday we went shooting. We went shooting because Kansas wanted to make sure that the ammo, the hollow point that he was going to use in his Marlin semi-automatic 22 was going to go well. Now, I have to tell you, speaking of guns, and this is one of the reasons why we're gun advocates, you need it for these kinds of things. Semi-automatic worked 100 times better than the rifle that he has used.
No.
Hang on.
No.
This is my opinion.
No, because the first shot, it doesn't really matter. 22 is a 22.
Let me tell them. Can I tell them my story, my version of the story? First, do you want to go back to the pet visit?
Nehemiah went down like that.
Can I tell them my story? This is my story. You were there, but this is my version of the story. he did something different this time. Instead of using the rifle that, I don't know what that's called when it goes back and then goes in. Lever action, thank you. He used a semi-automatic and did 2 shots. Bang, bang. Okay? With hollow points. Make sure the pig goes down. So Kansas did both pigs, Tiger and Jeremy. Tiger didn't go down instantly, but Jeremy sure as heck did. Like, boom. Like, it was like something like out of a movie. Like, he's standing there eating, happy as a clam. Boom, goes down. We raised out 2 standard hogs, took them to the butcher. Most traumatizing experience probably of my life, and their life, obviously of their life. Drive them down the highway an hour to Indiana to our butcher. They're in a crate. They're shivering. They get off the crate. They're like scared, and they weren't even going to butcher them until after lunch. And so we decided ever since then, they go from being happy and eating to no longer living. So anyway, on Wednesday, it was a miracle really because it snowed, which made everything clean. It was cold enough, which is why we decided to do it. Leah got a really good fire started. We had the scalder going. Kansas has built a scalder, so we dunk the pig, we scald and scrape, and it's a lot of work. And we hang the pigs up, and Kansas and I gut and eviscerate while Leah continues to do the heads.
They're in the cooler. I was going to do them while we were going live. I was going to have them boiling on the stove.
Scald and scrape the heads, because we will cook them and roast them. So anyway, then yesterday, we butchered those hogs from 2 in the afternoon until 12 o'clock midnight. 10 hours. No break. No sitting. No eating. Just went at it hard. I told this to Horatio and he's like, well, that was daft. Why didn't you take a break? I said, because it was a machine. If one person takes a break, you just have to. And I said, besides, if we had taken a break, let's say you take like a working 45 or even a half hour. That means we wouldn't have been done until 12:35 at night. And we still weren't done. You know, Kansas and our mom stayed up stuffing sausage bags until late in the night. Kansas is doing the lard and we're processing the whole daggone thing. Stacy says, we can tell Leah is a bit mellow today. Yeah, we're running on low sleep. Now,
I'm cool. I'm just waiting for Michelle to stop talking.
I had all this planned out because you weren't going to be here.
I know. It's
going to be the Michelle show.
She's on a roll.
So anyway, we worked hard. We hit a wall. I microwaved a Skyline. If y'all aren't from Cincinnati, you don't know what that is. I don't know. I sat down and ate it. I even drank a Coke. I mean, it was just hit a wall, done, go to bed. Wake up, do the days all over again. Pet visits. Mom's birthday's today. She stayed up late, so she's actually sleeping, missing her birthday show. I dressed up for Mom's birthday show, by the way, because she'll watch it after. I had my favorite blue striped shirt on. She says, you're not going to wear that, are you? You wear it every time. I'm like, it's my favorite shirt. Mom. All right, so that's the end. I have a whole show lined up. Do you want me to do my stuff? I don't know how long you're going to be. I'm lining everything up.
I got run stuck the show in traffic, guys, but we're glad to be here. And I want to get this out of the way because I know a lot of you are probably, or maybe you don't know. There's a budget that was signed today by Donald Trump, and he hinted this morning that he wasn't going to sign it because there was no border wall funding, and doesn't help. Didn't address the DACA or anything like that. And I just want you to know that we are in a fight. It's not Republicans versus Democrats. And if there's anything that this teaches you, okay, it teaches all of us that the Republicans are not real normal people. They're not who they say they are. That there's a few.
Rand Paul, Rhino, Republican in name only.
There's a few, and Rand Paul is one of them, and he was tweeting out last night. He was trying to read the bill. There wasn't even enough time. The Senate passed it, and Donald Trump had to sign it right away or not sign it, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody read this 2,230 some odd page bill.
You know who did read it?
Well, Rand Paul tried to read it. He couldn't get through the whole thing.
You know who did try to read it?
So he tweeted out some really hilarious things. I want to get to that, but I want to play you this little video here. Do we have volume? Do you know?
Oh, I don't want to hashtag them in my tweet though, right?
No, probably not.
No.
You know, there's so much censorship going on. As soon as you,
I'm sharing this on Twitter, and I put the hashtag March for Our Lives in there. But if I share it on Twitter, then they're gonna find us and shut us down.
All right.
Because our opinion on it's not going to be that great.
Because when the Republicans are out of power,
Obviously.
when they're in the minority, they are the conservative party. But then when they get in the majority, there is no conservative party. Democrats don't care about spending any of the time. Republicans seem to care about it when they're criticizing Democrats. But now that Republicans are in charge, Republicans are like, Katie, bar the door. You talked about border security. I'm flipping through the pages today reading the bill. I find out there is money for border security in Tunisia, in Jordan. We have border security money in the Middle East,
Billions
but
of
not border
dollars.
security money for the U.S.
Wow. Yo, Buzz.
So yeah, this is pretty disappointing to say the least. Now,
So Rand Paul went on a tweet storm.
it's a good thing we have Republican control of Congress, or the Democrats might bust the budget caps, fund Planned Parenthood, and Obamacare, and sneak gun control without due process into an omnibus bill. Wait, what? Now, Rand Paul kept tweeting out tweets when you bring up his. Let me see. Here we go. Looking for his. When you. It's supposed to be like a thread because he was tweeting out himself.
What's Sydney doing?
Sydney's right there.
Does she need food?
I think she's good.
Happy birthday, Mother Superior.
All right, so I'm just going to read the ones that I tweeted out because I can't seem to find the thread. Let me see. Show this thread. Just show me the thread. Show me the money. Show me the thread. All right, on page 207, 2,000 pages to go. Reading about the ever wasteful $6 billion National Science Foundation.
Really?
Remembering the $350,000 NSF spent asking if Japanese quail are more sexually promiscuous on cocaine.
Stop it.
Reading this monstrous bill full of grant programs begun decades ago reminds me of Reagan's critique. The nearest thing to immortality is a government program. Page 226 of terrible, no good, rotten deficit spending bill. I found a kernel of hope. No funds in this act will be used to support or justify torture. Page 240. Good news for states' rights. No funds will be spent to prevent any state's medical marijuana initiative. Page 278. $961 million to destroy our chemical weapons. Who was it exactly who convinced our government to pay billions to develop weapons we now find deplorable? Page 281 of Crummy Bus. CIA retirement funding. Wouldn't it be great to amend out the retirement benefits of Trump hater John Brennan and congressional dissembler James Clapper?
Yes.
Here are a few more highlights. $1 million for the Cultural Antiquities Task Force.
Hang on, wait, what does that even mean, though?
I don't know.
Task Force for Cultural Antiquities. Whose culture? Ours?
Indians, I don't know. Acquiring
They're
something.
Native Americans?
6.2 million for the Ambassadors Fund for Cultural Preservation.
So now we're preserving our cultural antiquities and just the culture itself. But you know what? Actually, they don't want us to preserve our culture. They want us to become multicultural.
It's for somebody else's cultural.
I think so.
$20 million for countering foreign state propaganda. $12 million for countering state disinformation and pressure.
Huh? You know what that is? I don't know. That sounds like internet censoring.
$5 million for Vietnam Education Foundation grants for studying Vietnam. $2.579 million for the Commission on Security and Cooperation in Europe.
Go back to the Vietnam grants.
Yeah.
$5 million to study Vietnam.
Education Foundation grants, yeah. $15 million for USAID for promoting international higher education between universities. $2.696 billion for international disaster assistance.
No, okay, let's go back to, was it Grover Cleveland started this whole thing? You know, if there is anything that we should be doing, it should be helping with natural disasters here or natural disasters abroad. You know, we should be helpful. And he said, listen, all right, fine. It's not something the state should do, but if y'all want to give of your own salary, I'm willing to pony up mine, like a whole month's worth. And none of them wanted to do it. That is where charity comes into play. The United States, and here's the thing that bothers me, like corporations and things like that. They'll have to give and donate to a charitable cause somehow or whatever. The United States, not a corporation, doesn't have to donate to charitable causes.
1.371 billion for contributions to international organizations, doesn't say who or what. 51 million to promote international family planning. And
Hang on, doesn't have
health.
to donate to charitable
No, I
causes.
can't.
Mute this thing. Sorry if you're getting double there. No, we do not need to be spending money. Do you guys know what family planning is? It's not about planning to have a family.
Abortion.
It's just birth control and abortion. Why are we? You know, I feel like this is political.
It's not for reproductive health.
Hang on. This is a political agenda to lessen the members of other countries. Yeah, we're killing people. We don't want them to have more people in their countries because then we can, start more wars. And
7 million for promoting international conservation. 10 million for the UN environmental programs. 1 million for the World Meteorological Organization. 218 million for promoting democracy development in Europe. Yep, the birthplace of democracy needs promoting.
To promote
218 million for promoting democracy in Europe.
You know what? You guys don't have much of a democracy left over there in Europe. It's pretty much just socialism.
25 million for international religious freedom. 10 million for disadvantaged Egyptian students. 10 million for disadvantaged
I don't care about
students.
the Egyptian students. I don't care. If you're Egyptian and you're a student, you're watching my show, I don't care about you. I really don't care. We're not helping you.
How about the 12 million for scholarships for Lebanon? I'll take a scholarship. How about 20 million for Middle East Partnership Initiative Scholarship Program? How about 20 million for military funding for Vietnam? Or 12 million. 3.5 million in nutrition assistance to Laos. 15 million in developmental assistance to China. China doesn't need any of my money. 10 million for women LEOs in Afghanistan.
Okay, hang on. I don't even know what an LEO is. Do you know what is that?
I have no idea.
Okay, here is the thing. I've got so many problems here. Budgets. Y'all do them. I do them. We do them. Okay? There comes a point in your house where you decide, you know what? And I know y'all people can say, oh, I dropped cable a long time ago. Whatever. Uncle Jack watches it, so it's an issue here for us. You're going to cut the cable, right? You're going to cut down channels. You're going to do whatever. Let's see. The newspaper. Cincinnati Enquirer, they've completely gone leftist. It's like, what, $17 a month? I'm cutting that out. You can't tell me that these stupid, idiotic politicians are in Washington saying the government's going to shut down if we can't agree. We have to fund Planned Parenthood or all of these things when you could be cutting. This is all excess stuff. This is like putting ice cream on the grocery list. You know what? We're not eating ice cream. This is worse than ice cream. I mean, this stuff you're not even going to be eating. Okay? Any one of us with half a brain could be going through this, and we could be saving billions and billions of dollars. This is absurd.
One senator did put in there that the NSA is prohibited from targeting U.S. citizens with the FISA 702 program, but it sounds good, but there's a back door to it. Page 357, section 8116, no funds can be used in Iraq in contravention of the War Powers Act. Sounds good, but haven't we been back in Iraq at war against new foes without any new congressional authorization? He says no funds may be used in contravention of War Powers Act. He says, that would mean we shouldn't be spending money in undeclared wars in Yemen, Libya, Nigeria, Somalia, Afghanistan. Wonder why the party that talks about the rule of law doesn't obey the rule of law. Says overseas contingency operations, aka military slush fund that circumvents budget caps. All told, we spent over $1 trillion in this budget busting category.
Maia says her cat is having her kittens right now in the house.
Oh,
that's breaking news. You will not hear anywhere else, folks.
That's adorable. Yay, kittens.
Oh my gosh. Make sure that Say gets like some video footage of that.
Here you go. Wait, he found it. A border security that Trump wanted. No, wait a minute. A section says defense can spend what funds it determines to enhance border security in Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, and Tanzania, meaning border wall for Jordan. Eyes getting tired, but really someone should read this beast. Page 392. No money shall be spent for the permanent stationing of U.S. forces in Afghanistan. I wonder what that meant by permanent, since we've been there for 16 years. Page 430 of the Crummy Bus. Good news, the government is going to earn $350 million by selling oil from Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but it won't go to pay down the national debt. He says a little over $30 billion for the Department of Energy. I wonder if anyone would notice if we had no Department of Energy.
Okay, hang on though. When I hear things like the wars and the Department of Energy, like those kinds of things, at least in my mind, make sense for a debate on the floor for what should go in the budget. Like, I can understand Republicans, Democrats hashing those kinds of things out. But the millions and millions of other dollars, I want to know what politicians are standing up saying, you know, we have to have this research of, you know, that ridiculous research that it was mentioned there, or we have to have this, or none of those other things that you have mentioned up until this point have been anything that any sound-minded politician would stake their career on voting to keep in the bill.
$9 billion for Government Services Administration that oversees federal properties. Federal government spends $1.7 billion a year to maintain 770,000 empty buildings while continuing to buy new properties.
Speaking of the properties, Leah, is it even constitutional outside of the buildings for the federal government to even own land?
No, not really.
No, not really.
Post office gets $58 million, but only if it promises not to close down small, underutilized money losing post offices.
I feel like I'm getting a twitch listening.
No money for the president to request FBI background report on any individual. If we had amendments, this would be a good place to add no money for partisan hacks and intel community to unmask any American without judicial warrant.
Wow.
No money to require disclosure of content on electronic communication. Good amendment here. It would be also to protect forced disclosure of metadata, i.e. phone numbers and identities of phone callers. He says, I shared 600 pages tonight. He says, I'm done tweeting for the evening. If they insist on voting, I will vote no because it spends too much and there's just too little time to read the bill and let everyone know what's actually in it. Now,
but Leah, you have to pass the bill to know what's in it.
Trump he came out and said, I will never sign a bill like this again. He said he had Mattis come up and say, you know, we signed it for the military. As Stacey pointed out, Rose of Sharon, that's a pretty lame excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans have been talking over and over again about defunding Planned Parenthood. $500 million goes to kill babies every year. They don't mean it. Republicans don't mean what they say, especially in the Senate. There's way more people in the House because the higher up you go, the more corrupt you get. And that's what Trump is up against. Now, I'm not going to just sit here and give you all the bad news because this is bad news. It's bad news. It's sad. It's stupid. But what else? What else is there? Here's the thing: Schumer and the Democrats, they have all the power. You want to know why they have all the power?
Why do they have all the power, Leah?
Because they own the deep state. They own the power is in the media. If the media was pushing 24/7 for a border wall, we'd have a border wall,
right?
If Hollywood was pushing 24/7 for a border wall and the Second Amendment and things like that, you'd be safe. But the power doesn't lie in Congress. The power lies in the deep state, which is what Trump is trying to fight. Now, a bit of interesting news.
Secretarian says, it always amazes me, or they don't say that. That's my interpretation. It's ridiculous that they always wait until the last minute. They should start the next budget now. And it is really interesting that it does always seem to come down to a nail biter on these budgets. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's for a reason, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But I want to, that's a big blow. I think for a lot of people, this is a really horrible thing. It's a horrible budget. And the fact that with Republicans having the House and the Senate and the presidency, you'd think that Trump would be able to pass whatever he wants to pass. But that's not how this game works. Okay? We're in a game.
Are we putting any culpability on Trump?
Yeah, but I do believe that he is in there. They have him in a corner, and this is what I'm doing to talk about right now.
Let's hear it.
Remember that FBI informant we keep talking to you guys about who was undercover for the FBI with the uranium scandal? Well, the left and the mainstream media keep saying there's no there, right? It's no big deal. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. This informant has information that would put the Clintons behind bars. However, remember, things only go the right way when the people in power, right now the people in power are the CIA and the FBI and the DOJ. Those are the people that make the big, huge decisions that bring down the hammer. Trump has fired one of his main lawyers, and he has hired somebody very interesting.
Forgot to trim it all.
That stinks. Our dog medicine. He's hired, and these people are married. You might have seen Victoria Tossing on Fox News with Sean Hannity. She is the FBI informant's lawyer. She's also married to the new lawyer who Trump has just hired, former federal prosecutor Joe Giovanna, and also I'm just going to finish the sentence there. So this is all going to play out very interestingly, in my opinion, because Trump's lawyer, I guess Ty Cobb or whatever, he didn't fire Ty Cobb, he fired the other guy. Said in November it's almost going to be wrapped up. It's almost going to be over. This whole Mueller investigation, and Trump is just tired, and he wants to take on Mueller because Mueller should be investigated himself. He wants to take on the FBI, but he can't because he doesn't have anybody in his corner. So he has hired some firebrands, I guess, at the suggestion of like Judge Jeanine. Jeanine, I always say Jeannie because it looks like Jeannie. And we're going to see how this plays out. But what's interesting is the former FBI informant at the heart of the Russian uranium scandal, who's like dying of cancer or something and wanting to get this off his chest, William D. Campbell, has given an exclusive on-camera interview to The Hill, which reveals that he was interviewed in December by FBI agents from Little Rock, Arkansas, for 5 hours about the Clintons. And I'm telling you this, his lawyer, Victoria Tossing, the redhead right here, is former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under Reagan, who is now handling the Mueller investigation for President Trump, along with her husband, former federal prosecutor Joe DeGenova, who also of note, newly minted National Security Advisor John Bolton was Reagan's assistant AG, presumably while Tossing was the Deputy Assistant AG in the criminal division. After Campbell spent decades working for the CIA, he was turned over to the FBI for counterintelligence work due to relationships he had forged deep within the Russian uranium industry. While deep undercover, Campbell uncovered 2 related bribery schemes involving Russian nuclear officials, an American trucking company, and efforts to route money to the Clinton Global Initiative through an American lobbying firm in order to overcome regulatory hurdles. Campbell collected 5,000 documents and briefs over a 6-year period beginning in 2009, some of which are said to detail efforts by Moscow to route money to the Clinton Global Initiative through the lobbying firm APCO worldwide, including video evidence of bribe money related to the Uranium One deal being stuffed into suitcases. All right? So we do have the Little Rock FBI field office, and I don't know how much trust I put in them, but they have opened up a new investigation into the Clintons and their various charitable foundations, focusing on the pay-to-play schemes and tax code violations. According to law enforcement officials and a witness who wishes to remain anonymous, the officials who spoke only on condition of anonymity said the probe is examining whether the Clintons promised or performed any policy favors in return for for money to their charitable foundations, and whether those donors made commitments of donations in hopes of securing government outcomes. The probe may also examine whether any tax-exempt assets were converted for personal or political use, and whether the foundation complied with the applicable tax laws. So I saw this, and I'm actually really excited because I would like to see something happen. And I have seen Victoria Tossing on Fox News with Sean Hannity, and she is a firebrand, and she knows what's right, and she has been on Fox News only once or twice a week, just hammering things out. So the fact that Trump is trying to hire the best and get this out there is pretty exciting, and I want you to have hope. All right, I want you to see that while this budget, it's just a budget. Nothing has changed for the worse. Nothing has changed for the better. Our friend texted us, so what's up with this bill? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it horrible? Of course it's a horrible bill. But nothing has changed for the worse. It's the same. Situation the same. So instead of getting all freaked out about it.
Right, but it's still really disappointing because,
I'm trying not to feel disappointed. I don't
Right.
want to talk about how disappointed, because if you feel disappointed and you feel negative,
right.
then you just get down.
But I do think
don't
that
wanna be
it's
down.
really important to look at the truth. And we always tell you guys when Trump makes a bad decision, we will call it out. Poor Donna says, I don't always lose my temper, but when I do, it's when Leah's making an excuse for a bad decision. I don't think Leah's making an excuse for a bad decision.
I'm not making any excuses whatsoever. I'm just saying that it's not any worse. Like, if you want to bang your head up against the wall because something bad happened, like if they go,
Like
there's
when he
a lot
bombed
of
Syria.
there's a lot of bad things that happen. This is one of those neutral things. Any other president would have signed this. It's really neither here nor there. So,
But at the same time, this is a bad call. We're calling it. I find it really interesting that Trump said that he would never sign or will never sign a bill like this again, which shows remorse.
it's just, I don't know. I am upset about it, but I don't want to be upset because when somebody makes you upset, they have power and control over you. So you've got to find the positive. You always have to find the Lord in
These people
something.
make me upset all the
The
time.
worst bill I have seen in my time in
There's
Congress. The worst
our-
bill
Can't
our
make it any
leadership's ever
bigger.
allowed
Can't
to
make
come to
him
the
any
floor.
bigger.
Well, they're doing it not because they want to do it, because they have to compromise with Democrats who have a totally different feeling about spending than you do.
Yeah, but Brian, the American people didn't elect Democrats to control the United States Congress. They elected Republicans. I don't think we told the voters when we were running for the job and they gave us the privilege to come here and serve that we were going to continue to fund Planned Parenthood. We were going to restrict Second Amendment liberties, let some bureaucrats take away your Second Amendment rights, not a court of law. I don't think they said we were going to fund this gateway earmarked boondoggle project and not fund the border wall. I mean, the one thing we don't fund is the one issue we all campaigned on, a border security wall, and that is not in the legislation. So it can't get any worse than this bill. We should stop. We should go back to the drawing board. If we have to do a short-term funding bill, do that, but go back and do something consistent with what the voters elected us to do.
You know, General Mattis has said the Defense Department is suffering big time with these continuing funding bills. He says you guys do give in this bill, I'm sure you're happy about this, everything Mattis wanted. So he gets his $80 billion. He's trying to get up to the levels he was before President Obama took office, and it's been stripped dry. So you're happy with the defense levels. You're just not happy with the other levels.
Of course, because that's what the American people elected us to do. They want our troops to get the pay raise they deserve. They want our military to be the best, like they are, to continue to be the best and have what they need to defend this country. They don't want us to grow government. They don't want us to fund Planned Parenthood. They don't want us to restrict their Second Amendment liberties. They don't want us to give money for the Gateway Tunnel but not give money for the border wall. They don't want those things. So we were so close to winning this.
But you're right. And there was a shutdown before, and it was DACA against this, and you guys won that. But if this is pure spending, the president and the GOP look like they can't govern because, as you know, it's 60 votes in the Senate, and they're not going to change that.
No, Brian, we can have the debate, take the debate to the American people and say, we're going to fund our troops. In fact, we were ready to do this. Chuck Schumer shut the government down a couple months ago. A few weeks later, we sent him a bill that funded the troops for the entire year and give them the pay raise they needed and held the line on everything else. And instead of just having that debate and winning that debate, right after Chuck Schumer had been embarrassed because he shut down the government, we did what Washington always does. We did the convenient thing. We just increased spending for everything. And now we're taking that increased spending levels that were set a few weeks ago, and we're funding things like Planned Parenthood, continuing to fund Obamacare, continuing to use money to take away people's Second Amendment liberties without getting their day in court. That should never happen in this country. And that's why this bill is so bad. You're going to see lots of conservatives vote against it because it's not what the American people want.
10 seconds. Why is the president supporting it?
It's the only bill they put in front of him. Put a good bill in front of the president. He'd support that, too. I know he would. So let's put good legislation in front. Let's not bring the worst bill I've seen in my 10 years in Congress to the floor of the House today. Let's put something good in front of the president that's consistent with what the American people elected us to do.
Congressman Jim Jordan,
So I think actually I have to tell you that Jim Jordan is an amazing, amazing guy. So I want to take his words and reiterate them. He said it's the only bill that they put in front of the president. I wouldn't have signed it. I don't think that Trump should have signed it. I'm also not a politician, and I don't know all of the ins and outs. I am not an apologist. I'll call it out. He should not have signed it. That being said, I do want to put the focus on where the culpability and the blame has to lie.
Right.
Okay? It is in these evil deep state Republicans, which is almost all of them that are in the House and especially in the Senate, in our government, that are really just shilling for the other side. That's what they do. They go out and they have coffee and dinner and they laugh it up with everybody from both sides. I mean, seriously, it's disgusting that it is just a game to them. It's just a game. That's why they can put a bill in front of the president with all of those things that Rand Paul tweeted out. It's an embarrassment. So I would be embarrassed as a politician to put that bill before the president with those idiotic things in front of it.
I'm gonna, if you weren't mad already, this is another line. See, I don't really want to make people mad. That's not what we're here to do. But they actually made a contingency in this bill that makes it so that it literally says you cannot use any of Trump's new border wall prototypes, any wall, any fencing. It's just a fencing. There's no wall. There's any fencing can only be repaired or they continue with the same kind of fence that we already have that they can get through. So it provides just enough funds to build 33 miles of fencing on the Texas border, but it also provides $500 million to help Jordan build a wall and defense line against jihad terrorists trying to cross its 287-mile border with Iraq and Syria. The Omnibus, page 394, says up to $500 million of funds appropriated by this act for Defense Security Corporation Agency in operation and maintenance defense-wide may be used to provide assistance to the government of Jordan to support the armed forces and its security along its borders. Page 375 says the Counter-Islamic State of Iraq, Syria, and Syria Train and Equipment Fund is looks like $1.7 billion, and these funds may be used for enhanced border security. U.S. funded $500 million 274-mile Jordan-Iraq border wall was described as by Vice.com in a 2016 article as the Great Wall of Jordan, how the U.S. wants to keep the Islamic State out. Wow. So we got $500 million to build a wall for Jordan, and which is pretty fun. Here you go. Here you got this great wall for Jordan. I'm not even kidding you. This is a real deal. This is a real thing. And I just, it's disheartening, and it can make you pretty angry. I mean, it literally says you can't use any of Trump's new. The people in the Senate hate the idea of a border wall, hate the idea of Trump's border wall so much that they use this to literally,
I can't believe he
punch him in the face, punch all Americans in their face.
That being said, I don't know, Jim Jordan, when he said it's the only bill that they put before him, you guys do understand what would have happened if he didn't sign it. Can you imagine the outcry of the left and the mainstream media? I'm not saying that he should have. I'm just saying that has to play into it. Right. You have to realize. Right. There would have been a lot of fallback.
Okay, so if you guys have any banking doing
backlash, that's what I'm saying.
With Citibank, if you can, I would write them a letter and pull your funds. If you have credit cards to Citibank, I would write them a letter, say I'm transferring funds, because Citibank becomes the first major bank to place gun restrictions on their clients. Now,
this is absolute
when we're talking about this whole gun control debate, everybody kept saying, but the banks. This is why you have a problem with digital currency. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is not the be-all, end-all of digital currency. Digital currency is anything that you swipe. That's all digital. All the banking is digital. If you're not physically handing people over something, it's digital.
Well, even now your cash money is digital. You can hand them that person, they go and deposit into the bank. It becomes digital again.
Right.
Hi, Sydney.
But at the same time, if you're handing somebody cash money, it doesn't. You're dealing with cash. You can't. Your bank should not be able to tell.
I don't think they understand. You haven't really said. What they're saying is, if you go to purchase anything gun related, Citibank won't let you.
Not gun related. Let's get to the specifics.
Okay.
Citibank this week became the first major lender to place restrictions on clients selling guns. The decision by Citi comes just 2 days before the thousands will descend on Washington, D.C. tomorrow. I have an article I pulled up that the Patriots, the football team,
Here she comes.
I see her, flew the Parkland kids up to Washington, D.C. on their private airplane that said Patriots on it. This is a big, huge,
Wow.
like this is, so
like the football team, the New England Patriots.
All right. So moving forward, Citi will require all of its clients to sell firearms to purchasers who have passed a background check, restrict sales to customers under 21. So they're literally saying that nobody under 21 can buy a gun, whether a retailer says you. I mean, it's illegal. You're 18.
And I want to know how they're going to enforce this, because when you purchase something, you literally just swipe a credit card. What's it going to come up with? You know what I mean?
And to stop the sale of bump stocks, I get that. That's the only thing. In high capacity magazines, but it does not specify what qualifies as a high capacity magazine, because you could have a 9mm handgun that would, maybe if it's over 10, which is most handguns have magazines over 10, and that's the legislation going around right now. The gun control all says a high capacity magazine is anything over 10.
Right.
So, but here's the thing. Well, they want to ban all guns that could even accept a magazine above 10.
Right.
So
I still want to know how they're going to enforce this.
This guy says, today we announced a new U.S. commercial firearms policy. It doesn't impact the ability of Citi cardholders to use their credit cards to make purchases. But it does. Because it's literally telling the people that bank, the businesses that bank with Citi can't sell to you. So yeah, it does affect credit card holders, right? Ed Schuyler, Citi's executive vice president for global public affairs, said the new policy is not centered on any ideological mission to rid the world of firearms, because the company's leaders respect Americans. No, you don't respect Americans' constitutional right. You know what? We can have a discussion on the drinking age, because pretty much everybody drinks under 21 anyways, right? And nobody gets arrested. Nobody gets put in jail. You can go to any college campus today. You just can't buy it, right? But any college campus today, they know everybody's drinking, right? So that's the one thing. But it's not constitutionally protected for you to be able to drink alcohol. The Constitution is for every person, but specifically for adults.
There she goes.
18, like voting rights. Everything starts at 18. You can join the military. 18. You're an adult at 18. So that Second Amendment has to start at adulthood as well. And I believe it starts at, anybody has a right to buy, to have a firearm, but still. We want to do our part as a company to prevent firearms from getting into the wrong hands. No, you can't do that.
You have to be 18 to purchase super glue. Found that out today.
Yeah, super glue.
Super glue.
Any client who does not comply with Citi's new policy will be permitted to continue its relationship. Will not be permitted to continue its relationship with the bank. So, you've got.
So they're not rolling out restrictions on card holders. They
specifically, but
they are dealing with businesses that bank with them, and that is how they're going to roll this out.
Right.
That makes more sense. Not that I agree with it. I'm just saying I was wondering how they were gonna. Okay.
Right. So, this is pretty intense. So you got this march happening tomorrow, and as I told you before, they these children, these super anti-gun kids. Now, these are the kind of kids that are giving you gun advice. David Hogg has said that he's angry because when they get back from spring break, they're going to require everyone to have clear backpacks for safety purposes. And he says the kids don't like it. It's too embarrassing. They would rather go into your home and take your guns, but they're too embarrassed to wear a clear backpack. This is the immaturity of these kids, and the world is taking advice from these children. I'm too embarrassed, he says.
I'm kind of speechless.
He's too embarrassed. The backpacks will be provided for free, of course. David is upset. He says, after we come back from spring break, they're requiring us all to have clear backpacks. It's unnecessary. It's embarrassing for a lot of students.
It's unnecessary for y'all to have clear backpacks, and yet it's necessary to disarm an entire country? Because you say so.
I'm starting to have a heart attack on this.
Now, you just told these people that you did not want to give them things that were going to make them angry. And that's all we do on this show. It was a bunch of hooey you was fed
But no,
on.
but here's the thing. This, to me, that's their own issue, right? That's them. I don't know what's going to happen with this whole gun thing, because we need people who are sound-minded. We took a whole episode and read to you guys quotes from our founding fathers on the Second Amendment.
That was a while ago, yeah.
We need people to know the founding fathers, to know what they meant.
It's called original intent.
To know how they lived their lives. No, it wasn't just a ball and musket that they wanted to for everybody to have. They wanted for them to be able to protect their family. They wanted for them for all of us to be able to fight, to take up arms if we have to make sure communists doesn't take over our country. So, yeah, the Patriots grabbed their little airplane. Here it is, right here. And students from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School left Florida on Thursday for the March for Our Lives against gun violence in Washington, D.C., and their transportation came courtesy of the New England Patriots. The team owner, Robert Kraft, provided the team's official airplane to fly the families of the 17 victims from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting and some of the students who were injured and survived the harrowing incident. So there you have it. That's
all right,
all
so
for you.
I have here, let me open this up really quick. It's not that big of a deal, but because it's from Nick, I wanted to share it. Nick sent a little 25-second video of the student walkout.
Oh.
So let me go here and just play it. It's not much, but to you guys, literally Nick being his personal that also, I don't know if you want to, are we still talking about the March thing?
We're talking about all kinds of stuff right now today because we have not been with you guys. Hey, everybody on Facebook. We haven't been with you guys since Sunday, so we've got a whole week to wrap things up.
So uncivilized.
You know what? We're going to take a break from the craziness of this world that really makes your head hurt. And I'm going to give you another head hurt, okay? Watch this.
Disney removes guns from Star Wars movies.
Hey guys, how are you all doing today? So in recent events, Disney has now...
This is a real thing. I thought it might be The Onion. So, my favorite movies are Star Wars. I grew up on them. My cousins introduced them to me, when you had VHS and you would tape it off of television, right? Because you couldn't even afford to buy a VHS at that time when I was really young. So we would watch them taped from television. And you stop and start when the commercials come.
Leah's 18th birthday, we had a party. And I needed to order on eBay the trilogy to have a Star Wars party. I needed it to come quickly. So with shipping, in 1999, I paid $75
For the whole thing, the whole
I bet
trilogy.
it's still sitting over there. Probably still have it
So
somewhere.
they got a new prequel coming out. I'm not really excited about these stupid things. You know, I love the characters. They killed off Han Solo, but he is Harrison Ford's still alive.
If you
Leia,
people don't like
she's
Star
dead.
Wars, you can just close your ears because we don't want to hear about it. We don't want to hear from you people.
This is the poster that they're putting out. Every single character has a gun or some sort of blaster.
It's called a blaster.
Well,
It's not-
there's other guns. There's
but
guns.
they're
more guns.
mostly just blasters.
There's another photo with a gun.
Okay.
Okay,
But it probably
trust
doesn't
me.
shoot a bullet. It's
Yes,
it's a
there's
blast.
actually another girl with a photo with a gun with a revolver type thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just roll with me.
I'm rolling.
All right. So this is Han Solo has the blaster, as Michelle so kindly pointed out. But in this photo, his arm is down, and he has no weapon, right? Because he is going to fight you with his face. Okay.
Here's the
Now
thing.
removed all
Superman, I get it. Dude's bulletproof, huge strength, really fast, can fly. Maybe doesn't need a weapon. But when the fighting hero of a movie that has zero superpowers,
What
mind
about
you.
the lightsabers? I mean, those are pretty deadly.
all blasters in the upcoming movie posters for Solo. Makes me wonder if it were episode 9 coming out, would they remove blasters from that poster as well? So the reason behind this is a bit unclear, but it can be assumed because of the media uproar
Calrissian,
about guns
yeah.
following the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in
See, that
Parkland,
looked like a
Florida
revolver
last
gun.
month.
It might be a
Is what
blaster.
this is all about.
It
Now,
might-
shootings are
it probably
tragic,
is a
and not
blaster.
to make this video political because I know that's the last thing people come here to enjoy, but as a channel that covers every single aspect of Star Wars, from my made-up fan fictions to novels, comics, and news, this falls in that bubble. So of course, as you can imagine, many fans have taken to Twitter and other social media outlets to show their anger at this decision, saying things like, I wish it would be as easy to solve all the problems we face because of the violence as it was to edit out the guns in these Han Solo posters. Another tweet says, Disney erased the blasters from Han Solo posters. We are dangerously close to an ET-style guns to walkie-talkies re-release here, folks. And then West Virginia Topics tweets, latest Han Solo posters lose the guns. A series of new Solo International posters come in both gun and no-gun versions that are sure to please everyone and no one at the same time. So, while Disney hasn't made any comment about this decision publicly, it can be assumed that this is because of the more recent shootings, hoping to please those who think gun culture in American movies increase murder. But gun culture in America has always been around. Now, in my opinion, because I don't want to just stay neutral for views or popularity, rather, I always want to be real. I think if someone is going to do something as horrible as shoot up a school, or anywhere, they won't get the idea from Han Solo holding a blaster in a poster. This falls in line with Disney's agenda in Episode 8 with Canto Bight, I think, and it seems to be a trend. It showed the animal slavery and brutality for over 30 minutes, then told us they didn't have time to include Snoke's backstory, or more bits of Luke, and what he's been up to. Now, I'm wondering what this means for the future of Star Wars under Disney's control, if they'll continue to remove all weapons from Star Wars posters in the future. So that means lightsabers, no blasters, no shooting TIE fighters, and have a disclaimer for anyone who goes to see the film that there are guns and violence in this movie. I guess we'll find out, guys. So let me know. Star Wars belongs to us, the fans,
Here
and I think
is
our
the
voices
thing.
are much more
I was under the impression that when you used the parental guidance
I was under that
thing there,
impression as
that
well.
was enough
Right.
of a warning. I gotta tell y'all people something.
Right.
Leah and I watch carefully what goes in our eye gates and what goes
Right.
in our ear gates. So before I go and watch a movie, you better believe I'm going to the parental advisory and I am reading specifics.
Right.
It's just what I do. It's called being a human being, taking responsibility for what you partake in.
Right.
I don't need some sort of warning that says this may contain violence. Any movie may contain violence.
Right.
Dang, I'm rated G. Disney movies have violence. I was more traumatized by watching Ernest Scared Stupid as a child than just about anything else. I mean, seriously. People have to be able to take responsibility for their own actions.
France, there was another attack. And with a bad guy with a gun. A bad guy who got his hands on a gun in France. The hostage-taking gunman responsible for at least 3 deaths in Carcassonne, France, today, has been shot dead after demanding the release of Salah Abdeslam, the sole remaining killer of the 2015 Paris attacks. And he wanted him to be released from prison.
But I was under the impression that the strict gun laws in France was going to make it so that the bad guys couldn't get weapons.
Yeah, about that. Friday's attacker has been identified as from Moroccan origin. He was a resident of that city who attacked police in a supermarket with weapons, including a handgun, made the demand for France to release its most closely guarded prisoner. Described as public enemy number one by French newspaper Le Figaro, Abdeslam was a delinquent turned terrorist cell member who was part of the November 2015 carnage that killed 130 in locations across the city, including the Bataclan Theater. The hostages taken by this guy have now been released, with reports stating the final hostage was exchanged in return for a 45-year-old lieutenant colonel of the French army. The gunman was shot dead by French police shortly afterward, and the government stating while the individual was known to police for petty crime, he was not known to be an Islamic radical. 3 were killed in total during the attack, including the passenger of the car he stole to launch the attack Friday morning. Reports stated a group of police officers in civilian clothes on their morning run had been attacked by this guy from the car, who may have attempted to run the group down and fired a number of shots from the vehicle before driving away. Police entered into a standoff with the attacker at a supermarket approximately 15 minutes away from the site of the first. Specialist counter and terror assumed responsibility for the investigation. And French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe confirmed the incident is being treated as a terrorist attack. I wonder why this would happen. But I find it very disconcerting because I shared this article on our Facebook a few days ago. France toward total submission to Islam and the destruction of free speech. Well, you may think that you can't talk about Islam, how the censorship on Islam is kind of feels like it's been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. But it hasn't. Especially in France. In France, they used to make fun of Mohammed.
Right.
They were disrespectful to Islam for reasons that they would put up Muhammad with a child. They made photographs or something like that. People have been killed over it. And so to keep as we talk about the Hornets at bay, instead of taking care of would-be terrorists,
right,
they're putting people in jail. Marine Le Pen faces a prison sentence for tweeting out a true incident that ISIS did and said this is Daesh, which is another word for an Islamic State terror. After the murders of much of the staff at a French satirical magazine, Charlie Hebdo, in Paris on January 7th, 2015, 3 years ago was a really rocky year for France. They had several terrorist attacks. Mm-hmm. And so what did France do? Did it go into the mosques? Did it start to interview all the imams? Did it put... No.
You would think after one shooting in Parkland, Florida, where the entire country is going into upheaval about gun control, that if there were all of these terrorist attacks, that you would go into an upheaval
over Islam
to the inception of where these terrorist attacks are coming from.
But no, they instead have taken to innocent French civilians who talk about it. Mm-hmm. And then the hostage taking and slaughter at a kosher supermarket 2 days after that. That what was already obvious, France was a target for Islamic terrorism. A huge demonstration organized in Paris on January 11th brought together 1.5 million people, with politicians from around the world in attendance. For a brief moment, France seemed to be the country where the multitudes were ready to stand up for freedom of speech, and the government was ready to fight for Western values. No. No. For years, freedom of speech in France has been in the process of being crushed, particularly regarding Islam and Islamic terrorism. Journalists who said that Islam often did not look much like a religion of peace and more like a religion of war were systematically and harshly prosecuted.
But here's the thing, people. Until the last, 15 years or so, all history books had.
Right.
It was inescapable.
Right.
to put the violence of Islam in history books. Now, granted, they're not really teaching that to our kids, but what is mentioned, it has to be in there, because if this is worse than any religious takeover that's for since the inception for a couple of thousand years almost. So this is what Islam has done. They are a conquering religious people. It's what they do.
So Charlie Hebdo posted some posters, and they're all pretty bad. Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
And they spare no expense. They're
I don't
pretty
think
bad.
you need to pull those up, man. I don't need to see them.
However,
nope.
I know they're all really bad. But here's the thing: they were sued for all their nastiness. They were sued for attacking Islam. They were sued as early
for their nastiness.
as 2006, the year of the magazine published the Danish Mohammed cartoons. They were sued again in 2007, 2012, and 2013. The writer, Michael Hulenbeck, was summoned to court in 2010 for saying that Islam was a stupid religion. The first judicial sentence against the...
Do people get put in prison for saying Christianity is a stupid religion? Because we hear that one a lot.
Yeah. The website Riposte Lac was established in 2007 to fight censorship, defend secularism, and preserve the right to criticize Islam. Lawsuits against its founder, Pierre Cassin, immediately became overwhelming. Judicial harassment against those who dared to speak incorrectly about Islam did not stop after the murders at Charlie Hebdo. Rather, they intensified. And here's the difference. So people write horrible things about Christians all the time. Mm-hmm. But Christians don't go and want to blow them up. The terrorist attacks that took place in France in November 2015 and July 2016 did not lead to any demonstrations, merely to displays of sadness, fear, and resignation. French politicians used empty words, spoke of the dangers of basically extremism. But they said that France was at war, but they never named an enemy. Journalists and writers who said that terrorists attacking France were Muslim and that Islamism was not foreign to Islam. See, that's what they try to play with the words. They call it Islamism is some horrible thing, and Islam is Islam, and Islamism is some terror. It's so confusing. Just call it what it is.
Call it bad, evil.
Since the election of President Emmanuel Macron a year ago, the situation became worse. On June 20th, 2017, at the end of a post-Ramadan dinner, he shared with Muslim leaders, he said, no one should make believe that Islam is not compatible with the Republic, that no one should say that France rejects Muslim faith, and that an attempt to give Islam the image of a religion condoning murder and terror must be condemned.
Yeah.
No, what he's saying is that any attempt to give Islam the image of a religion condoning murder or terror must be condemned.
Oh. Okay. I missed that part.
Yeah, you missed that part. On January 20th, 2018, Pierre Cassin was convicted of incitement of hatred against Muslims and fined $12,000. And he was also given a 3-month suspended prison sentence. He will soon be tried again for repeating the same crime and could be sent to prison. Several European governments have made it clear that criticizing Islam may lead to prosecution and conviction. Recently, British, Danish, and German citizens have been handed suspended sentences. If Pierre Cassin is imprisoned, it will be the first time that someone in a Western democracy is sent to jail for criticizing a religion. Worse, Cassin is not even the author of the article targeted by the judges. So it goes on and talks about Le Pen. 6 to 8 million Muslims live in France, and the number is increasing. France's 400,000 reigning Jews have not yet left France, but every year the numbers shrink. Practicing Christians vanish, churches are often empty. Polls show that a significant proportion of the French population thinks that Islam is a threat, but French authorities choose to harass those who speak of this threat.
I want to tell you guys what's really scary to me with kicking this off with the hostage guy.
Yeah.
That is the fact that these people, the left, the globalists, whoever they are, just evil people, use these scary things that happen, the Parkland shooting, whatever, to take your guns away.
Right.
But then when you get into the situation, the bad guys still have the guns. And they promise you, this is a promise by these teenagers. They can't promise anything, but these teenagers and the people that are backing them. Mm-hmm. Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney,
George
George
Clooney
Soros
is so proud of him. You know, gave him
the New England Patriots. They are promising you that if we take away people's guns, you'll be safe.
If we make it so that you can't buy a gun before you're 21, that people will be safe.
They are promising these things, and it is absolutely 100% unequivocally not true. Because, and here's how it is. If somebody has evil in their heart, they are going to find a way to commit that act of evil on a huge level. And I think that we should segue to the Austin bombing, because one thing that these terrorists can do, because a lot of people are saying, well, a kid goes into a school, has a semi-automatic weapon, they think automatic, and all of a sudden they're able to hurt more people. So if we can just make it so that they can't have the ability to hurt more people, then the kid is going to obviously choose a gun that can only hurt a couple of people.
Right.
That's not how this happens. Because if somebody has it in their heart to commit a mass atrocity, they're going to find a way to commit that mass atrocity. They will learn how to build a bomb. They will drive a car through a crowded, section of people. He could have gotten into a car, waited for a bunch of kids to cross a crosswalk, and rammed right into them and possibly have killed the same amount of victims. It is insanity to say we have to get rid of these weapons that will commit, and so they're promising that these things will no longer happen if XYZ is put into place. This thing that has just happened proves that is not true. They cannot give that promise. France has intense gun restriction laws. And the bad guy still got a gun and still hurt people stealing the car. So not only had a car, he had a weapon. He just wanted to hurt people, okay? Whether he was paid as... And so then, instead of addressing the Islamic element to the country as a threat, they just want to disarm the citizens, which doesn't do anything, but somehow the bad guy still getting a gun, still driving, still stealing a car, still hurting people. And that is what makes this entire thing so scary.
Speaking of bad guys with the gun, they have released some surveillance footage of Stephen Paddock. And so I want to bring you this Tucker Carlson thing
I have
segment here.
This.
Yeah.
Nearly 6 months after the Las Vegas massacre, the deadliest in modern history, new evidence is still trickling out about what happened and why. Surveillance footage of Stephen Paddock at the Mandalay Bay Hotel in the week leading up to the attack came out today. You're seeing it on your screen. We first see Paddock on September 25th checking into the hotel. Over the next few days, he doesn't appear to be preparing for anything, much less a killing spree. He gambles on the casino floor, at several different video poker machines. He seems like a loner and is not joined by anybody else, at least on these videos. Otherwise, he's unremarkable. Throughout the week, Paddock leaves the hotel several times, apparently to go to his house. When he returns, he brings bags with him, 21 bags in total, carrying the guns and ammunition he would later use to kill 58 people. Hotel bellhops assist Paddock with his bags, putting them on carts and escorting him to the elevator where he tips them. Paddock often makes small talk with employees as he waits for the elevator to arrive. The very last time we see Paddock on these videos is 12:30 on October 1st, bringing 2 more bags up to his room. Less than 10 hours later, the massacre begins. A lot of questions about this, beginning with why now and what does it mean? Catherine Lombardo is an attorney representing the victims of Las Vegas. Doug Papa is a former casino security guard and joins us as well. Catherine, first to you. You're involved in a major, maybe the major lawsuit surrounding this massacre. You haven't seen these videos until today. Why is that?
That's right.
How have they been edited? And is there evidence that anyone else was ever in that hotel room with Paddock?
Why today? I think it's a PR stunt. It is pretty shocking that they released it to the New York Times and not to us, the lawyers, who have been asking for this video and these videos.
Wow.
Remember, there are over 700 hours of video. Why did they just choose these 5 minutes? Where's the rest of the video? Why now? I'm so concerned for my clients because my clients, who are all victims, are suffering. They're suffering still today from PTSD and the symptoms that come along with that. For them to see this without warning, I'm just worried for my clients. But regarding the video shows something. It's exactly what we've been saying happened all along for the last 5 months. It is shocking to see how confident and casual the shooter, Paddock, was, to ask the valet and the bellhops to help him unload his arsenal of 21 bags, haul that arsenal of weapons and bullets up to his 32nd floor. He knew that the security at the Mandalay Bay, there was no security. And in today's day and age, we already know that in Las Vegas, the casino's security teams are trained in all kinds of things to detect the indicators of what to look for.
Right. So, Doug, you just heard Catherine say she believes there are about 700 hours of video with Paddock contained in them. This is a 5-minute selection, so there's context missing. But from what we have now, what conclusions do you draw?
Well, the video was released by MGM. It was not released by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. And they made a statement today saying that they did not release it, that the video was owned by the MGM and that's who released it. It corroborates a little bit what's in the 81-page police preliminary report that was released a couple of months ago, where they referenced the video that they looked at but never released. And they are saying that they see Paddock at different times bringing up about 21, 22 suitcases into the room that they allege contained the weapons and the ammunition. That's all well and fine. I'm more concerned right now, what I want to look at as a former director of security and investigator and police officer, is I want to look at the lock interrogation reports for both rooms 32-135 and 32-134. Because if you remember, in the police preliminary report, they said that at 21:36 hours, which is 9:36 on October 1st, the deadbolt was engaged to room 135, and then 10 minutes later at 21:46, 9:46, the deadbolt was engaged on room 134. It doesn't say anything else reference the lock interrogations in that report, other than they reference that they did use lock interrogations. So my point being is this, okay? If the deadbolts were on those doors 15 minutes before he opened fire, and the lock interrogation reports, when we get them, will show whether those deadbolts were disengaged from the door and or if the door was opened after or during the shooting and prior to the police strike team going into the room. If the lock interrogation reports, indeed, I believe it's going to show that the deadbolts were not disengaged in the room, both of those room doors, that nobody could have exited that room door in that 1 hour period where the Metro Police were out in the stairwell before they went into the room.
That is the key question. Catherine, we're almost out of time. Hit me with it quickly, please.
Yeah, I want to add to that. MGM released this to New York Times. What does that tell us? It tells us that they can release the evidence that we've been asking for over 5 months. We have asked for it. They haven't given it to us. Why are they doing this? Just a 5-minute clip today. It tells us they have so much more that we've been asking for. My clients want answers.
And there's a public interest in it as well. We share that interest. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, I don't know. It's MGM and the Mandalay Bay are definitely trying to cover their tracks. True Pundit Thomas Paine on Twitter keeps tweeting out that he's tied to Antifa. The same thing that Alex Jones said right off the bat. So I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen anything.
Will says that the Paddock brothers have ties to Bohemian Grove. Here's my thoughts on this. I want to know, he just said that they were able to release this because it was the property of MGM. Now, I don't know legalese. I don't know anything, really. I'm just Michelle here. But I want to know, what we heard right away was all video surveillance and all this footage was like the videos that were in the room were confiscated by the FBI. Please. Can someone answer this question for me? I would assume that under a mass murder, that the footage and the surveillance footage of the MGM would then become like a classified bit of evidence, and the MGM would have to, under like legal obligation, not be able to release it. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that there is 700 hours worth of footage and surveillance, and these lawyers haven't had the chance to already be combing through it. It's not enough just to watch 700 hours through once. You have to go through those 700 hours over and over and over again. Several eyes need to see it to see what they can catch. So what had said that he, was able to get all of those weapons up there and nobody saw it. Sure. The surveillance footage shows. And then this lawyer lady said, these people are trained. They have people that watch this stuff. They are trained to keep an eye on these things. It goes to show, and it is proof, that they knew what Stephen Paddock was doing, not from the mass shooting. He was an arms dealer, from my humble opinion. They knew he was an arms dealer. They knew he used their casino as a front. And so, of course, they're going to turn a blind eye to this.
There you go.
That's my opinion.
So I want to go ahead and give you Tucker's take on the omnibus bill here.
Rand Paul joins us next.
Well, it's Rand Paul.
Yay, Rand Paul.
We played you a little clip. I'm going to play you the whole thing.
The House of Representatives passed a massive $1.3 trillion spending bill today intended to prevent a government shutdown. The Senate will likely follow suit. It's being shepherded by Republicans, but you would be forgiven for not knowing that. The bill caps ICE agents we can hire and the number of illegal aliens ICE can detain.
It caps
a border wall is
agents.
out of the picture. It gives hundreds of millions to Planned Parenthood. It funds sanctuary cities. It ups the EPA's budget by more than $750 million. It's not something Republicans said they were for. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky joins us now. Senator, we asked over a dozen Republicans who voted for this to come on. None would do it. The people who wrote this, were they here for the 2016 election?
I'm kind of old school. I think you ought to read the bills, before we vote on them. This is a 2,200-page bill. We got it last night at midnight. I've been working all day diligently through the bill, and I'm up to page 600. But, I've still got quite a bit of ways to go to read the bill. As far as the content of the bill, this could have been written by President Obama and liberal Democrats. When I ran in 2010, when we had that Tea Party tidal wave, we were opposed to President Obama's spending, and we were opposed to President Obama's trillion-dollar deficits. This bill will give us a trillion-dollar deficit this year.
Paul Ryan is, of course, ultimately responsible for this as the head Republican in the House. These are his priorities, I assume, but they're so out of whack with the priorities of the party. How?
I think this is why people are so upset with politics, because when the Republicans are out of power, when they're in the minority, they are the conservative party. But then when they get in the majority, there is no conservative party. Exactly. Democrats don't care about spending any of the time. Republicans seem to care about it when they're criticizing Democrats. But now that Republicans are in charge, Republicans are like, Katie, bar the door. You talked about border security. I'm flipping through the pages today reading the bill. I find out there is money for border security in Tunisia, in Jordan. We have border security money in the Middle East, but not border security money for the U.S.
So I'm just concluding that the people who run the Republican Party in the House anyway just don't want increased border security.
No, what it is this. It's an unholy alliance. The unholy alliance between Republicans and Democrats is this. Republicans are not fiscally conservative on the military. They want unlimited spending on the military.
Right.
Democrats say, we'll give it to you. We're not really opposed to it. We'll give you the military spending if you give us the domestic spending. So really the unholy alliance, the unholy compromise has been going on for decades is we really actually have too much compromise in Washington. They're always compromising to raise spending and increase the debt.
Really quick, are you going to stop this? Are you going to shut down the government over this?
It's never been my goal to shut down government, but my goal is to say that we should be for balanced budgets, limited spending, less debt, and we should be for reading the bills. So I'll continue to advocate that. Whether they can roll over me, I'm in the minority. There'll be about 10 Republicans that vote, maybe 15 Republicans vote no on this in the Senate, maybe a handful of Democrats.
Yeah.
But they will win. The majority will win. But it's Republicans and Democrats joining hands together to blow a hole in the debt.
I know you're going back up the hill. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it, Senator.
Here's another thing that has to be looked at. I want to know, they present a bill to the president, any kind of bill. How long is he supposed to wait after looking at it? How long can he take after looking at it before he has to sign it? Can he take a few days? Can he take a week? Can he take a month? How long can he take before he signs a bill? Because if somebody hands me, and I'm president, it could happen, you don't know, she'd be president before I went, a 3,000-page bill. I'm not signing that bill until I or someone within my close sphere or several people have read that bill. And that's going to take a minute to get through. So maybe if they're going to put the pressure on, present the bill before the president, they should make it small enough that somebody can actually read it if they are the president.
Thomas Jefferson and our founding fathers wanted to make sure that everybody could know every law. Every law.
I can understand like a couple hundred pages. All right, I can understand. It's a big government, right? I can understand that. But how many times are we given forms to sign? And your mother and your father, when you're growing up, they always tell you, don't sign anything unless you have read it. Okay? We went to the shooting range on Tuesday, and they handed us a compliance paper that we had to sign. I read the whole thing.
So
that I
speaking
knew what
of
was
going
coming,
to the shooting range,
what I was signing, and it was kind of long.
A lot of people, from what you would see in Hollywood and what you see online, you would think that the Democrats, and they're mostly black people, black people are mostly Democrat, they do want gun control. Mm-hmm. And we went there, and our area has opened up several shooting ranges in our area. So the one that we went to that was open is it's less expensive because it's older. Mm-hmm. And we went in there, and there wasn't a whole lot of people there, but in front of us were 3 couples that were black, and then another black couple showed up, and it was like all these black couples.
We were the only white people there.
Well, there was 2 guys next to us.
Oh, that's right. They weren't there long. At one point, we were the only white people there.
And it was just really funny because I'm like, here I am in a shooting range with like all these black people, all these black couples. Black couples was really into men and women, there to shoot, middle class.
It's fantastic.
They were there to shoot. And it boggles my mind that like the Democratic Party doesn't serve the black community, and the Republican Party doesn't serve the conservatives.
Exactly.
So
very well said.
They don't serve who they represent, because black people actually, from what I understand, the NRA, one of its founding reasons was to help get black people armed to protect themselves from being lynched.
Right.
And
now they want to give their guns away. This is total insane. But they don't. And I told Leah, I was so encouraged when we left, because we weren't like in a black part of town. Okay, and there are black parts of town. We live in Cincinnati. Okay, I was so encouraged.
This is a middle class white area of town.
To see so many black people there exercising their Second Amendment rights. Now, Sooks, aka Brian, answered my question and said that the president has 10 days, or else it's called a pocket veto, in which to sign a bill that he is presented with. So that answers that question.
Yeah. So my head hurts on this whole omnibus thing because he just signed it, right?
My head hurts like in general. I literally have a headache right now. I'm not kidding. I'm kind of charging through. It's like in my ear and right here.
You're not supposed to tell the audience.
I'm not supposed to tell that to this. Show them the happy face. But if I can be this happy with a headache, y'all people be fine.
All right. So what else you got, Michelle?
All right. So what I have here is I want to talk about the bomber. Everybody wanted to call him the Unabomber, but this kid in Austin. Let me get rid of this. Close this out. Let's see. His name is Mark Anthony Condit. So I'm just going to literally take you to this Breitbart article, and let me shrink us down here. If I can do that.
Make me smaller.
Well, I had it bigger because I want to show a video from Britt Baza, but I was covering up his Facebook in order to do that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. He did an interview when he was at the
That's right.
Speaker's Corner.
That's right.
So, all right, so here we go. Mark Anthony Condit died on Wednesday morning when he exploded a device in his car as police attempted to take him into custody. Less than 12 hours later, information about who the Austin serial bomber is beginning to emerge. This is from the 21st, by the way. The man, described by his former employer as quiet and introverted, went on a 3-week rampage that left 2 people dead, 5 people injured, and people across Austin, Travis County, and FedEx stores and processing facilities terrorized. Condit's family homeschooled him before he graduated and attended Austin Community College. He attended the local college for about 2 years, but did not graduate. KVUE reported his formal education at the school ended in 2012. So right off the bat, what I've been seeing about this kid in every single article is he was homeschooled. Now that kind of, when people say it was a black person, everybody say, why do you gotta say it's a black person? Because they stand out as being different. Because if it was a public school educated kid, they're not going to say,
but here's
and
the
he
thing.
went to public school
No.
education.
There was another thing in that article too. They said he was white. They kept saying white male, whereas when they know for a fact that somebody's got a little bit more melanin in their skin, they won't say he's Asian. They won't say his name. If it's terrorism related, see, they wanted to say he's white right off the bat. It's totally crazy.
All right, let's see. During his college years, Condit appears to have written some conservative blog posts. Now he's a conservative. And this is Breitbart, by the way. As part of an assignment, NBC News reported, the blog Defining My Stance provided a platform for a host of postings ranging from anti-gay marriage to his positions on free abortions to why sex offender registration should be ended. The posts were allegedly authored by Mark A. Condit, but NBC News said they were unable to confirm with school officials if the bomber actually wrote the posts. Condit does not appear to have any kind of military or law enforcement service in his background. He worked for Crux or Crew, how would you say that?
Yeah.
Manufacturing for about 4 years, overlapping the time he spent at Austin Community College. The Austin ABC affiliate reported his former boss said he hired the then 19-year-old because he seemed like a smart kid who showed a lot of promise. He reportedly worked in sales and purchasing and did a little bit of everything. However, after his performance slipped and he received several unheeded warnings, Crux Manufacturing let him go. Is it just Crew? Thank you. In August of 2017. His former employers described him as a quiet, introverted man who would prioritize things in his own way. Condit listed work as a computer repair technician, according to his profile on a job recruiting website. Texas Governor Greg Abbott told Phil Prazin that Condit was unemployed when he died and had no military background. Let's see, politics. The college blog posts allegedly written by Condit paint a picture of a politically conservative person. I am not that politically inclined. I view myself as a conservative, but I don't think I have enough information to defend my stance as well as it should be defended, the blog page profile states. The reasons I'm taking this class is because I want to understand the U.S. government, and I hope that it will help me clarify my stance and then defend it. Again, NBC could not confirm.
We read those. Yeah.
Let's see. Personality. Condit's neighbors paint a picture not dissimilar to that of his former employer. Jeff Reeb told NBC News that Condit was a very normal kid and that his family was extremely nice. Reeb told Statesman that he struggled to wrap his brain around about Condit's actions. I know this is a cliche, but I just can't imagine that. He explained about Condit's involvement in the bombings. He said his grandson grew up with Condit and they played together. The bombings. There is no reported criminal history in Condit's past. Several news outlets reported that ended on March 2nd when Condit
No.
I don't think that's a proper sentence. All right. So anyway, that all stopped on March 2nd when Condit allegedly delivered a package to the Northeast Austin home of Anthony House. The package exploded and killed the 39-year-old black man. On March 12th, Condit struck again by killing 17-year-old Draylon Mason in East Austin when a package exploded after he brought it inside his home. Mason's mother was also injured in the attack. A few hours later, Condit also injured a 75-year-old Hispanic woman after she picked up a package on her front steps. On March 19th, 2 other young men were injured when Condit changed his tactics. This time, a tripwire bomb exploded, sending the 2 men to a local hospital. Austin interim Police Chief Brian Manley told reporters that investigators believe the use of a tripwire in the 4th bomb shows a higher level of sophistication than had been demonstrated. He said it also indicates a shift in the serial bomber's strategy of targeting specific people to a more random style. The randomness expanded when a package exploded at a FedEx processing facility in Schertz, Texas. The woman suffered ringing in her ears after the package exploded on an automated conveyor belt near her work location. Police tracked down a second package at a FedEx ground facility in East Austin. Police later determined that the package was an unexploded device.
So they found a recording where he basically says he's done it all. They don't have any motivation. They said that his life was just in shambles. And bada bing, bada boom, he decided just to make bombs and blow people up. I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it for one stinking second because of what they came out with so fast.
Yeah.
The recording, the fact that he was a homeschooled Christian, you were hearing from the guys like, I know this is a cliche. Jeff Reeb, his neighbor, my kid grew up with this kid. I can't imagine it. They're a nice family.
This is a good time to talk about like false flags and how manipulation can happen. People can get into your head. And I really believe there are people out there. People can get to people online. They can hide things. The CIA, they can get to people. They want to do a narrative. We're talking about
just so convenient
the same
that
thing,
he exploded and isn't there anymore.
Like David Hogg, right? His dad, a former FBI agent who works at a facility, FBI, who works at a facility that manufactures the body armor. And one teacher said that she opened the door and she saw what she thought was a cop in full body armor. And we haven't seen that full body armor that he was supposedly wearing. And we haven't seen where he might have purchased full body armor.
And he wasn't wearing full body armor because where would it have been stashed? They would have found it.
They would have had to find it.
Because he left without wearing it.
So who was the guy in full body armor? These are things that I want to know that we're not going to have answers to. And David Hogg and this whole thing is so set up. It's so set up. I mean, just so many political things are happening after this.
But what was not supposed to happen is I don't think that Nicholas Cruz was supposed to live. I don't think that he was supposed to walk out of there alive. I think that was a mistake because in these instances, in these false flags, they always kill the perpetrator assumed perpetrator, so you can't go back and ask any questions.
So, Alex Jones calls it called wargaming things. You throw things out there, people get, now you're not even allowed to talk about what you think happened.
No,
right?
Our whole channel's going to get censored.
So why didn't the school resource officer go in the building? Why was there a stand down? Could it be that Parkland police, they're well known to be corrupt?
Yes.
Right? There's a long list of corruption within Parkland.
Yes.
Could it be that they are in on this and knew that Stephen Paddock was,
Nicholas Cruz
was going to do this? Now, remember, we gave you a piece of information the other day that Nicholas Cruz, and maybe I didn't. We haven't been with you for a week. Maybe I just talked about it. I think
it's only been 5 days. It feels like a week. Everybody's having a cow.
Every time you and I talk about
we didn't
something,
film. 4 days we did not film. Everybody was losing their mind. I love that you missed us.
You and I talk about something, and I think that I tell them, but I'm not sure. So
I'll tell you if you told them.
Okay. Now where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. The school resource officer was the guy who told authorities that they needed to Baker Act this kid and commit him.
Mm-hmm. We did not talk about that on air.
And commit him. The guy who didn't go in, Steven somebody, can't keep everybody's name straight. The old guy who didn't go in, he knew who Nicholas Cruz was.
Right.
He knew he was dangerous. He knew he was bringing in knives.
There were several
he was bringing in
teachers and teachers in authority positions that had asked for this kid to be committed.
And it's called a Baker Act, right? And so the school resource officer didn't go in, and he's got to be thinking to himself, Nicholas Cruz in or shooting people up, unless he's either thinking it or he knows it. And it was planned ahead of time. And they set this kid up.
He wasn't the only person that just stood on the outside was he?
Are there police officers being paid off in Parkland? Was there a big payout after this? Because we already saw Oprah pushing out $500,000. We already saw George Clooney pushing out $500,000. There's millions of dollars to be had for this gun control effort.
Right.
Right?
All right, so I want to rehash something because
and David Hogg was reading lines and somebody said, no, repeat that line, or no, you can't say that.
Right.
He's putting out ads, which I won't play on here, saying that congressmen are the BITCH of the NRA.
All right, hang on though. The last time we interviewed Blue Guy, Nick from the school, who sent me that video, there was a bombshell that he dropped, and I don't think that he meant to drop it. And I don't know if we've rehashed that with our viewers since, but I want to do it again.
People talk about it.
He said that something happened, and there was a big security meeting. That's the key that I want you to know. There was a big security meeting.
Right.
And then, as soon as they came back from Christmas break, after a big security meeting, because something happened, they started doing these drills. These active shooter drills.
Right.
Now, the FBI learned of the threat on January 5th.
Right. Well, a specific threat was called in, but they knew beforehand.
That says to me, I'm putting Nick's testimony, student of the school. This is what he got from his teachers. Something happened. There's a big security meeting. Now we're going to do active shooter drills.
Right.
They get the tip on January 5th. There's a big security meeting. The tip was about Nicholas Cruz.
Right.
This security guard knew that Nicholas Cruz was a real threat.
Right.
An imminent, gonna happen real soon.
Here's the thing.
Threat.
The person who called in was not the same woman that Nicholas Cruz moved in with, who believed that he was going to do a shooting too. And she had called the police and said he's not safe. He's going to shoot people.
The schools knew. The FBI knew.
Broward County
people, they all knew. The Parkland police knew.
But they're
this
not
was
marching
going to happen
in Washington against the school. They're not marching in Washington against Broward County. They're not marching in Washington against the FBI. They're marching against the NRA, whose sole purpose is to teach you how to protect yourself and to protect others. Here's the difference between the NRA and ISIS. Here's the difference between the NRA and Islam. Islam's teachings can lead you to go kill someone, whereas NRA's teachings will teach you how to be safe and never kill somebody. So that you can't blame
unless you have to in defense of your.
You can't
blame.
Why are you?
Someone else.
They're blaming the NRA because they're the good guys. They are the good guys, and I think that brings me another video I might be able to bring up on this.
Gary says Cruz was used like Lee Harvey Oswald. I have no doubt in my mind about that. They used. Not only did they know. I'm going to restate that. They used this situation. It was ripe for the picking. Whether they actually helped to groom it and make it happen, I don't know, probably, but this whole thing reeks of it being pre-orchestrated. It's as plain as the nose on my face, way more than even Las Vegas. This is an open and shut situation, I have to tell you. Let me see. Porky Prickly Pants says, schools will never, ever be secured. Be happy with what you got. Securing the schools and protecting the kids is not the goal. The goal is to take the guns slowly away with gun control. You are absolutely right. I would add to that. You're right. The schools will never be secure. And they're going to, what was it that we were watching or mom shared with us?
And they wouldn't take action.
Somebody was sharing
that want to
how
keep killing
there
our
was,
children. They could have blood from children.
Was back in like the I'm going to get this totally wrong, but I want to say like the 70s or something. They said that part of taking away of people's guns, they would start doing these false flags in schools.
Right. They'll
start shooting up schools in order to take people's guns away. Right. This is a completely designed situation. But anyway, pull your kids. Is not going to get any better until they have the guns from every American, which is never going to happen.
Right.
They're going to keep doing these instances. So pull your kids from public school.
Right.
Killing our children. They could have blood from children spattered all over their faces, and they wouldn't take action because they'll still see those dollar signs.
Are you exhausted?
I'm beyond exhausted.
Is it energizing, this exhaustion? Is it an energizing exhaustion?
Yeah, it's just as energizing as it is exhausting at this point. I get to a certain point where I get so tired that I just keep going. It creates a positive feedback loop in some ways.
No, you're living high
the more
on
stress
life, kid.
and work that I put on me, the more work and stress that I can deal with. Well, at this point, it's like when your old ass parents like, I don't know how to send an iMessage, and you're just like, give me the fucking phone, and you take it and you're like, okay, let me handle it, and you get it done in 1 second. Sadly, that's what we have to do with our government because our parents don't know how to use a fucking democracy, so we have to. I think what sick fuckers are out there that want to continue to sell more guns, murder more children,
Caution,
and
F words coming. Leah forgot to tell you that.
What type of person are you when you want to see more fucking money than children's lives? What type of shitty person does that?
And like, there's this whole, I mean, the way that they're talking about it now, the way Rick Scott has been talking about it is like, when the shooter arrives, we need a metal detector and
at
a guard.
Point, with Rick Scott, it's like, when I get elected to Senate, we're not going to let that fucking happen, and you guys better not. He's like, oh, I'm going to implement all of these amazing things. Let me make sure I do it right before my election for Senate when I try calling out Bill Nelson. He's turning this political.
So do you see that as opportunistic? I mean, he's
it's absolutely opportunistic. He does not give a fuck about these kids' lives at all. He only cares about his reelection. That's why this stuff is being implemented in a year, not today.
What is striking to me about this is that you guys seem to have such mastery of the internet in a way that I feel like, I mean, literally any politician pretty much can't even approach it.
And that's the great thing about it, because those fuckers aren't going to get reelected.
But on the internet, they're on your turf, essentially. Like, this is the way I think about it. But, like, you actually have to take that turf and take it to theirs, which is, like, making laws happen and getting people elected or making sure people don't get elected.
And when you start hearing from your political aides that there's a shitload of angry future voters, you start to worry a little bit.
Unless your political aides are the ones who are telling people.
So I'm sorry for the curse words, and we don't have the equipment to bleep them out, but this young man is leading the charge to take everyone's weapons. David Hogg right here. That's his dirty mouth. That's the dude. That's the guy. That's him. That's
when you don't, and forgive me, many people, because I know I've got so what here, so you're excluded here. When you lack the intelligence to construct a sentence or an argument that wins and that makes sense and expresses your views, you throw in curse words. That's what you do. Because what's happening is you're running your mouth faster than your brain can compute. And so you fill space. Some of us fill spaces with pauses or ums. I do a lot. I'm really sorry about the Other people fill the space where they're processing, or I don't think there's much processing going on in this young man's head, with curse words. Okay? He doesn't have any other language because the public school that he is at hasn't taught him.
So
he doesn't have a big vocabulary. Okay. It's very, very limited. Hang on, though, a second. Because if I were to give a soliloquy or some sort of monologue going on for seconds or minutes or whatever, if I were to use the same big word like soliloquy or monologue within, I don't know, 18 sentences? If I were to use that word, soliloquy, monologue, don't you sound a little bit unintelligent?
It's like in Canada,
Yeah.
A.
I send text messages to my friends. And if I use the same word like excited, I'm so excited. I make sure that within the next
That's a really good point.
Several sentences,
Me too.
I'm not going to say, and I was really excited. I'm not going to say that again. I'm going to say it made me thrilled.
You're
I'm
such
come
a
up
wonderful
with another
person. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. You can't say that. You
No,
have to say,
I hope you have an incredible birthday.
So this shows his vocabulary is really small. Now,
very limited here.
I'm gonna get over the part where he says the NRA, you're just the Congressman, you're just the BITCH of the NRA.
More curse words coming.
No, I'm going in front of that, I think.
Oh, okay.
I hope.
Okay. We didn't exploit the trauma of kids to push a political agenda. What if the media actually covered the kids who completely disagreed with you? What if we had put armed guards in every school in America 5 years ago when the NRA first called for it? What if the FBI had done its job and stopped the killer? What if the sheriff's department had done its job and stopped the killer? What if the football coach who heroically sacrificed his life had an AR-15 instead of empty hands? What if the politicians you cheer for actually cared about the violence in the inner cities? What if the celebrities who donated millions to your march used that money instead to help high schoolers like you in the inner city? What if you respected your freedom that millions of people across the world would risk their lives just to have the chance to receive? What if your march wasn't backed by an anti-Semite who said, quote, Hitler was a very great man? What if I told you that calling someone a bitch because they disagree with you isn't American, it's just childish? You people want a culture war, but the culture isn't on your side, and I'm going to expose that on my show, so stay tuned.
So that's Colin Noor, and he is with the NRA, and he does really great things. I thought I could find him on Twitter, but he is on Facebook, so check him out.
Now, you notice, I think he had like an advertisement for Mossberger or something on there.
Yeah.
So that leads to the gun control censorship that is going to happen on YouTube, rolling out at the end of this month. It's very, very scary what's about to happen. Anybody that has a channel that has endorsements or is sponsored by gun manufacturers, gun sales, things like that, if they mention that in their video or in anywhere in their content, that movie or that video will be deleted, and they will probably get a strike, and their channel will be taken down.
I want to get to some of these specifics because it's all really confusing. YouTube bans firearms demo videos entering the gun control debate. YouTube, let's see. It says YouTube will ban videos that promote or link to websites selling firearms and accessories, including bump stocks. But they had to put that in there, right? Including bump stocks. Oh, I'm for it then, right?
Obviously, we're all already going to assume that it excludes bump stocks. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It will prohibit videos with instructions on how to assemble firearms.
Because you don't want to know how to safely use, operate, or assemble a firearm. You want people just trying these things out in their home without any knowledge. That makes sense.
Current research for how to build a gun has 25 million results, all going to be gone. Though that includes some that are toys. At least one producer of gun videos saw its page suspended on Tuesday. On Alex Jones, I was watching a lot of these YouTube gun sites are being taken down.
So what says goodbye Hickok 45?
Yeah,
he's just going to be gone, because another thing that's part of this is there's no grandfathered in. Your videos, I don't care. They don't care when you did them. They're going to have their algorithms looking at your content, and boom, you could have a video that's up from 10 years ago.
So I think it was Spike's Tactical that might have been on Alex Jones. Forgive me for not knowing who they are to remember exactly. But they said in a post on their Facebook they've already been suspended from Twitter or from YouTube. Now, if this is the right person, they were suspended, but because so many people followed them, they were interviewed on MSNBC, and the reporter had asked YouTube for a comment, and then YouTube responded to the reporter and said, "Oh, we'll put it back up. We'll put their channel back up." Not to the people who were trying to get their channel back up.
Wow.
In Range TV, another channel devoted to firearms, wrote on its Facebook page that it would begin uploading videos to Pornhub, an adult content website. YouTube's newly released vague and one-sided firearms policy makes it abundantly clear that YouTube cannot be counted on to be a safe harbor for a wide variety of views on subject matter. Pornhub has a history of being a proactive voice in the online community. Not exactly my first choice. I will not be going there to find your videos. Thank you.
And I'm totally against that 100%.
Yeah.
Because I think that here's the thing. We want to keep our gun-owning American men.
Let me just give you a couple of
as
examples
masculine as possible.
Of things that have just been happening.
And unfortunately, pornography demasculates men to a level that is just
but I understand why they're doing it, because
I'm just saying that it could just be bad idea.
Let me just give you a couple of examples of things that have just been happening very, very recently that show you this strain in our culture that is getting worse and worse.
Sorry.
YouTube is entering the gun control debate with a new ban on videos which demo firearms or link to websites selling firearms or firearm accessories.
So you can't even demo using a firearm. So and another thing, and I'm really against video games. Like, I really am. But YouTube is shooting themselves not in the foot, in the head over this, because almost all of YouTube already operates in the red. They don't make any money. Google just keeps them afloat. Without the revenue from these gamers that have all of these weapons and guns and things like that in them, bye-bye YouTube. Right. They will cease to exist. YouTube is going the way of MySpace.
Right. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. So the lot has happened in this 4 or 5 days that
4 days. It was
haven't-
only 4 days, guys. We were gone for 4 days. We didn't go anywhere. We live here. We weren't coming to you for
Sunday
4
to
days.
Monday, Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday,
No.
Wednesday to Thursday,
Monday,
Thursday
Tuesday,
to Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
But if
Those
you go
were
from
for the 4
Sunday
days.
to Monday, Tuesday
No,
to
but we went
Wednesday.
live on Sunday and we're
You're right.
live on Friday. 4 in the middle of that sandwich.
So, yeah, there's a lot happening right now, and I don't want anybody to be discouraged because we're under fire. Just remember, again,
don't worry.
be a happy man that we're fighting the good fight. Like every day, we didn't see you because we're living our life, right? We went shooting. We slaughtered pigs. And I actually had a dream last night that
which we could have brought you along for those things, but it's awkward, pig guts and scalding and scraping and butchering and pig fat everywhere, and it just makes it difficult.
Well, I tell you what. I mean, if you want to bring up the video, just kind of you can just show it to the people in the camera, just so they can kind of get a picture of.
So our mom comes
what our
out
kitchen
at
looked like.
some point last night, and
she
tries
wanted us to
video.
go live.
I actually wanted to go live.
I had thought about it. No, I wanted to go live too. We just it was like one of those things where if we stopped, what we were doing,
you
we
give
weren't
me
gonna
your
done.
phone to show these people a video.
Oh,
I don't know how your video works.
Okay,
I don't
you're
know
right.
Anything.
So I will bring it up.
Those are puppy dogs.
Dogs.
There it goes.
So
now the volume would be here if you want to put that up there.
I was just gonna kind of show them the picture.
No, they can hear you. Turn it up.
No,
Let me see what it looks like. There it is.
I'm just filming you.
It's not gonna focus in on it.
This should be filmed.
I actually had considered going live.
So there I am.
I think you should go live and show people what you're doing.
Can't really start. Oh,
there you go. That's lovely.
There you see it. There it is. It's called the trotter. Matt's over there doing some
raise it
lard.
up. Now tilt it forward. Is your arm getting tired?
Yeah, I'm not going to show them the whole thing. I just wanted you guys to see. You don't need to see a whole video of
well, it's not that long
carcasses and things like that. But so yeah, we're living our lives, and I believe that God is ultimately in control. Jasper says that God is in control, right, Jasper? God's in control. God is in control. And you know what? If you've watched the 3 episodes of Lord of the Rings, you're going to have some setbacks. But I believe that we are winning. I believe that the stupid budget.
You will learn that you will have setbacks, not just by watching Lord of the Rings will you have setbacks in your life, because that sentence could go a couple different ways.
My brain is on a little bit, as you can tell, like, hey, they're not firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, you know what? You can run your car on a miss.
Boom, boom. Yeah, yeah. So you know what?
What?
Let's just get to the packages.
Oh.
Sean and Tracy, I don't know if you guys are with us.
They're not. We should wait.
We will wait till Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will wait for sure for Sunday.
But we were sent another package. We do not know who sent this.
Now, all right. So here's the deal. Like
Somebody keeps sending us things from eBay, like
ordering them from eBay.
So there's a memory thing in there and a cell regenerator.
Yeah. Hang on. I should go get those because here are they. Oh, hang on. Wait. Tell them about it.
Well, first let me show them Brian's Easter card, which is absolutely beautiful. My mom said you had to show it because it's so pretty. So, is this attached? All right, look at this card. Isn't that not so pretty? Thank you, Brian. This is a beautiful card, by the way.
AKA Sooks.
And it says, Leah, Michelle, Kansas, and Patriot Valley, God bless you on this special day. Thank you for all the information, friendship, help, and support that you've given me. May you rejoice in the miracle of Easter and many blessings of God.
My mom actually wanted me to show you guys the inside of this envelope. She's like, it's so pretty. Actually, because I'm going to throw this away, I'm just going to rip it open so you can see it.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Because my mom opened it from the top down. But it has like
a lining.
Really pretty. It has line.
So we don't know exactly who is sending these improved
There's
memory.
something really.
I should probably take one right
I'm
now.
like, should we take that as a hint? This is called NAD cell regenerator.
And what's funny about that? Tell them about your nails. You just thought it was
Yeah,
funny.
my nails were getting ridges on them. My grandma's used to, and I just wanted to Google and see if there was like some sort of nutrient deficiency that I had, or if it was just
It
like
said no,
age.
you get no. But
No, it's just age. However, it said it is possible that you might need more red meat, which makes sense. We're gonna get half of a cow. We haven't been eating a lot of red meat because we just eat our pork, which is kind of red meaty. But anyway, but it also said that maybe your cells just need a kind of a boost for regeneration.
She was just telling
and
me
I
this,
literally
and we went
5 minutes,
and then there was
I
this.
go in and I open that up.
So maybe that was a sign.
So we don't all listen. If you send us stuff, we're not just going to like ingest it because we're not stupid. But it literally came straight from eBay, and it had all of its packaging and whatnot on it. Now, Patriot Gallery stayed up for a long time stuffing sausage for us last night, so she's in bed. But we did have a very fun opening of this. Now, I have to tell you something. Hang on. Somebody sent this, and the package literally said, Resistance Chicks Patriot Gallery birthday. When we opened this up, I thought it was like, I'm like,
Dynamite?
It looks like a C4. Like, it looks like a package of dynamite. It is not. It is
Nine
not.
400-calorie meal bars.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Rations.
MREs.
Emergency rations.
Now this has me a little bit freaked out.
I am so excited about this next thing.
I'm really afraid to even touch it.
I'm really sorry, whoever you are that is sending anonymous gifts from eBay.
I'm having issues with it because
I'm sorry that my mom is not here. Okay, but I opened this up.
It's pink.
It's got a nice satin box here, the satin lining right there. And all I saw was this piece of paper right here.
There's got to be a safety.
At the top.
Is there a safety on here?
And it says, congratulations on your purchase of the ViperTech VTS 979 stun gun. I'm serious. Somebody sent my mama a stun gun for her birthday. I'm getting a little choked up about this because I think that is a very caring gift. Some very thoughtful, exciting. Yes.
I'm actually more terrified of this than a gun.
Oh, no, but that can't kill you.
Yes, it can. People have been killed by stun guns.
Well, it's not going to kill you.
Well,
Not as, okay, you accidentally hit somebody with a stun gun, they're just going to be stunned. You'd have to have sustained stunnage for death to occur, I think.
I'm glad my mom will now feel safe.
I wish this anonymous eBay giver would fess up and
I'm just afraid like you touch it and you touch a button at the same time.
No.
I'm putting it away.
This is absolutely fantastic. Wait, there was another card from the other day that we hadn't opened yet.
So, stun gun.
So thank you for sending our mom Patriot Gallery a birthday present.
This is from Lori.
It's the only present that she opened today because literally we haven't had a chance to celebrate her birthday. We're going to celebrate it probably tomorrow.
Bright sunny wishes at Easter from Lori. I hope you both have a great Easter. I really enjoy your shows. I always look forward to watching your shows every Friday and Sunday. Thank you for everything you do. God bless, love, Lori. Here's hoping that your Easter is warm and especially kind, filled with all smiles and happy moments you can find.
Thank you, Lori.
That's awesome.
Very,
it's
very sweet.
Adorable little.
Jim West says George Soros says he's glad you like the gifts. Britt Baza wants to know how willing is Kansas to try it out as a guinea pig. Ain't nobody trying that thing out as a guinea pig, Barry. My gosh. Unfortunately, illegal in Britain.
And over.
Been hit with one before as a joke. It wasn't. I was stunned, says Stuart the Brit. Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I think that is the coolest thing. And the fact that it is a pink stun gun and it's got a belt loop and like a holster and everything. I find that incredibly exciting. So,
I'll tell you what, though. I might wear that if we happen to go anywhere out. Like,
yeah, baby. To any, like, if we were to go to that right to the light, you're right for your, what was it? If we have to run into Antifa, hold this here.
Oh, yeah. Last but not least, of course.
All right,
I'm glad that Britt's here.
Britt Baza.
He went to Tommy Robinson's Sunday
at Speaker's Corner.
And he interviewed some people, and we want to share that interview.
Let me get to that here. All right. I'm going to...
British people just look cooler.
They do.
think it's a nice sweater and jacket.
All right, so I'm putting this here in just because.
Wow, but we're weird.
I know.
You're weird. It's
all right,
like
but this is what it's going to be.
Your eyes are on
I don't
fire.
care. Y'all can be
Your
afraid.
mouth is on
fire. Wow, I've got like fangs. Look at that. This is me if you try to come after us. And
You're
I'm going to have a
freaking me
stun
out.
gun. And I'm going to, here's the thing. All right.
Nobody can talk to you when you look like that.
I don't know. Britt Baza is here, and we refer to Barry's name a lot. However, just in case, I wanted to cover up his name on his Facebook. And so that's what I'm doing with
are on fire.
I am on fire. That's like, I'm like a vampire. This is so fantastic.
Play the video.
All right, so here we go.
Stoke-on-Trent, which is up in Northampton, Nottingham direction. And quite frankly,
40 miles from Birmingham.
Yeah, 40 miles from Birmingham. So the turnout here today was absolutely huge. Did you actually come down to especially to see this event? Yeah. So how long did it take you to turn up here this morning? 3 hours. Was it on train or was it on coach? So you brought a load of you down in your minibus. How many actually came down?
9 of us.
9 people came down here in a minibus from basically up by Birmingham, which is a 3-hour drive. And
30 miles from Manchester.
30 miles from Manchester. And depending on, I've been through Birmingham quite a few times. Depending on the time of traffic, it can take you anything up to 6 hours to get home. Yeah, so 6 hours driving to get home. Can I just get your views of why you actually came down? What was the reason you actually came here today?
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
And Muslims.
And Muslims.
Lack of freedom of speech.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely wonderful. So,
paedophiles.
Well,
and they are.
Some aren't. Depends. You can't just go around bandying that around
I haven't
without
seen any English grooming gangs.
No, I can appreciate that.
And I haven't seen any English flying aeroplanes in buildings in America.
No, I can understand that as well, and I'm fully behind you on that. That should not have happened.
And no English have put new mums down in Manchester for the pop singing.
No, that was absolutely disgusting. Did you have anything to do? Did you have any family or anything going to that concert? Did you know anyone going to that concert? No, that was an absolute shame. That was.
But it's still your breed, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're English.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they come from.
I wouldn't want a Muslim kick you now because you're English.
Yeah, I'm proud to be so.
Kick a Muslim.
I don't think we can use that one, but we might be able to. So yeah. So hopefully that can be sorted out. So, but anyway, thank you for your time, Brian.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you for your time. Thank you. Have a safe journey back to Birmingham.
Where's that going on?
Resistance Chicks with a bit of luck, which is it's a couple of girls out of Milford, Ohio, and they're well aware of this situation. And quite frankly, they are Christian girls, and they tell you the news that really no one else will tell you. The BBC won't get involved in it, but they do it with humour, they do it with fun, they enjoy what they're doing, and they give people very, very good entertainment value as well. So they're on Friday nights, usually at about 11 o'clock, and they're on tomorrow at 6 o'clock. That is our time. So if you wanted the American time, count back 5 hours before or 4 hours at the moment. About 1 o'clock on Sunday, and then I think it works out about 2 o'clock or whatever on the Friday. But definitely worth a watch, and I think definitely worth a subscribe to. I think you'll enjoy it. So all right. But anyway, I'm going to crack on now because I'm absolutely frozen. So, nice to meet you.
Barry, well done.
I have to say that, Barry, you're a really good interviewer.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic interview. And, we do need to know where people are coming from. And he was just being honest. Yeah. You don't see any Muslims going to America, or you don't see any Brits going to America flying planes into buildings. You don't see the English grooming gangs. You do see English pedophiles. They deal with that. But it's an ideology behind it. So he's upset, and rightly so, and the BBC isn't covering it. And your leaders aren't talking about it and not even allowing you to voice your concerns.
Right.
And so that was just fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. What was the song that we were singing yesterday when we were butchering?
You were my all in all.
Oh, can you pull up the words? Because we were getting them a little bit confused. My voice is going a little bit raw here.
Like us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter.
Thank you to all our moderators.
We go live every Friday at 6, Sundays at 1.
And that will go back to normal kind of European time as of Sunday. Don't forget to turn your clocks back, all of our European friends, Saturday night. We've been 4 hours behind you. Now we will be 5 hours again behind you. So Britt Baza, Will, Maia, Donna Terry, Gary. I hope I'm not missing somebody. I know Sooks was here for a while. Rose of Sharon was here for a while. So thank you guys for being here. I know that the chat is now replaying after the show, which is awesome. I'm actually really excited about that. But still, I want you to leave your comments because not everybody's going to look at that chat replay. And there were a lot of pertinent comments here. Maia, how are the kittens doing that are being born?
Oh yeah, how are the kittens?
Right now, we want to know. We want an update on the kittens. Oh, that is not tuned.
No, it's fine. It is actually. Wait, it's close enough. No, it's not fine. Where's my phone? It's not fine. We're not all fine here.
We're not all fine here. So yeah, we will be going live this Sunday at 1 p.m. At which point we will open the package from Sean and Tracy that was sent for Leah's birthday. Just takes a little while for things to get here from the UK. Sunday says, happy birthday, Mama. Yes. So like I said, today is Patriot Galler's birthday. Actually, Kansas's birthday is on Tuesday. So I have no idea what we're doing that day. Probably not going live. We're really busy. We're coming into no more Marmite. Nobody has eaten that stuff. We have not cooked with that. We're entering into our really busy season for pet sitting. We will always go live on Fridays. We will always go live on Sundays. And we will try to add in 2 more days on top of that. Probably Wednesdays and Thursdays, but you never know, give or take. I'm sorry that we took 4 days away from you. We missed you too.
We missed you too.
We missed you too.
We missed you too. I was playing with a pick. Did you see it anywhere?
Yeah, I dropped it on the floor. I was playing with it too. And then it went down. I was like, oh no, I can't pick it up.
Okay.
Hey, there is Tracy. Now hang on. Tracy,
So
do you
we'll
want
do
us
it
to?
on-
We're
do it on
going to
Sunday.
open your package on Sunday, okay? Then Sean
Without
can be
other
there.
UK viewers, yeah.
Yeah. No, wait, I gotta get you back on. I don't know if you're in the shot or not. You're totally not in the shot. Excuse me, Jasmine. And it's dark. So last night when we were processing, I look huge compared to you now, but that's all right. The pigs, I was really reaching the end of I was really tired. It was midnight, and I just started singing. And this is the song that came to me. So I said, Leah, we never sing this song. We should sing it.
Rising again, I bless your name. You are my all in all. When I fall down, you pick me up. When I am dry, you fill my cup. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Won't you give up? I'd be a fool. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. You're my strength, I'm weak. You're the treasure I see. You're my all in all. You're my all in all. Jesus, worthy is your Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Oh, Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Worthy is your name. Worthy is your name.
Maia says there are still only 2 kittens and there's more left inside of Mama.
Oh, come
Pray
on, Mom, you can do it.
for the mama to be getting them kittens out of there. Pie Wacket says, happy birthday, Mother Svensson. Sversen. It's Svensson, but Sversen works as well. Anything works, actually. We've heard it all. All right, you guys. We're going to sign off here, I think. Do
Yeah.
another song?
No, we'll see you guys on Sunday.
Right? Tomorrow we're actually going to celebrate Mom's birthday the day after. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Don't forget, it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth, which we've given you a lot of here today. So, Easter is April 1st. That's not a joke. It's not an April Fool's joke. I say, Jesus rising from the dead. Be like, dude, psych. I think that's fantastic. Jesus, maybe. I kind of like that correlation there. So, I think that wraps it up. Do you want me to sign it out with you singing? I will do it. All right.
Taking my sin, my cross, my shame, rising again, I'll bless your name. You are my all in all. When I fall down, you'll pick me up. When I am dry, you fill my cup. You are my all in all. Oh, Jesus, you're the Lamb of God. Worthy is your name. Oh, Jesus, Lamb of God. Worthy is your name. Worthy is your name. Worthy is your name.
I was cold all alone. No place to home every day. So afraid. But you call my name. My eyes.
No, it took like a whole couple times, so I was like,
Y'all liked it at the end. Tell Lee you liked it.
I was like, dude, I just gotta sing it. Just
sang
get it
it.
out.
You sang it. Tell him. She sang it. You sang it.
Are we still?
Yeah. Because you were still talking to him. Bye, guys.